Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Mompreneurs Making Moves. If you've ever tried to answer emails with a toddler pulling at your sleeve, or you've wondered how to grow your business while chasing your dreams, and probably your kids too, then you're in the right place. Every week, we'll get real about wins, losses, and all the magical moments in between, sharing practical tips, honest stories, and the laughs that keep us going. Welcome back again to another episode of Mompreneurs Making Moves. I'm your host, Amariah Murdoch, the owner and founder of Infinite Exec. We are top-notch EA agency ready to help you if you are a solopreneur or someone who just needs a dedicated right hand for anything from ops to project management to calendar and email. If you need your Pepper Potts to your Tony Stark, we need to talk because I have the perfect person for you. But today, we have the lovely Lauren, and I'm so excited because what she does and specializes in is something we don't think about often: travel. She is the founder of Travel Character, a backstage production team for designing luxury family vacations. And over the past 6 years, she has assembled a just amazing creative team of women who guide discerning travelers seeking personalized, high-touch service over do-it-yourself booking. And, as someone who services 7 to 10 figure CEOs, I think we can all say high touch service and not having to do it yourself is definitely worth its weight in gold if we're already out there doing the other things. And as mompreneurs, we are extremely busy with our business or businesses. And so having a done for you type of service, I mean, that you can't really put a price on that. She has a background in performing arts, and Lauren now channels her storytelling into crafting unique travel experiences that help clients embrace their main character energy. And her innovative marketing has earned her a Travel Weekly Gold. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Is it Magellan or Magellan?
Magellan, like the explorer.
Thank you. A Weekly Gold Magellan Award and recognition as a finalist in Travel Age West's Trendsetter Awards. Celebrated for her comedic, music-driven travel content that invites audiences into a world of exploration and enjoyment. Lauren, how are you today?
Thank you. I am doing so well. Thank you so much, Amariah, for having me. I am going to be talking about my favorite thing on the planet, which is
Mm.
travel and also being a mom and a business owner. So I couldn't be happier to be here today.
No, I love that. And you gotta first, let's start with what is that main character energy that you refer to in your brand? And how can a family vacation help a mompreneur tap into that energy for her personal and professional rejuvenation?
Absolutely. I think too many people forget that they can have this main character energy. They're maybe taking a backseat to other people or other things or prioritizing things above themselves. So, having the opportunity to make themselves a priority is really where that character, that energy comes in. And that's what my team loves to do. We love to support you so that you can shine, you can look like a rock star to your family. We are totally okay when our clients take all the credit for the amazing vacations that were planned and that we take a back seat. We don't need to be the ones to shine. We're just here behind the seats to support you. I think that's kind of why our businesses are a little bit similar in that respect, because you also provide a very similar behind the scenes. I loved your analogy with Pepper Potts and Tony Stark. It's so funny. My daughter actually, our 2025 thing was that she watched all the Marvel movies up to Endgame. And I feel like sometimes you have to remember who, yeah, who the brains behind that operation was sometimes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He had a team and he had a nice lady behind the scenes too. Yeah.
Yes. No, I love that, man. I'm going to get into Marvel for a minute and I need to just
For
focus.
sure. I totally sidetracked us, but we're talking about storytelling too. And I feel like those are some of the most heightened versions of storytelling. So yeah, I definitely that main character. We want to put you first. We want to be here to support you and you deserve it. I think that's the number one thing.
Okay. So, really quick, real talk
Yeah.
for just a second.
Please, please.
As moms, we sacrifice a lot. Like, seriously. I mean, no one really truly understands how much unless you're a mom. Like, there's no way to really comprehend. And the times that we put ourselves on the back burner and that we bend over backwards to make sure that everybody else has what they need, that we're constantly accommodating. Why in the world would we give ourselves permission to put ourselves first?
Yeah, I think it's kind of odd that people don't find that they need to put themselves first. But I think that you can only perform at your optimal state as well if you are taking care of yourself. So I think that's number one. I'm a huge supporter of self-care. I'm a yoga practitioner. That's like my way of doing it. It involves the meditation, involves getting my body in shape and all of that. So I think it's really important, even if it's just like that 1 hour for myself. That's what I like to do to focus. And then this way, when I do get back to work, I can focus more intentionally. And then that has its place and its time as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a growth moment, right? When we realize that self care and taking care of ourselves, period, is
Yeah.
not just optional. It's essential for us to be able
Absolutely.
to show up at our best selves, right? We can always show up less than that, but if we're ready to show up, we've got to take care of ourselves. And self care, it sounds so selfish, especially to, I would say, like the religious filter. People who are like, nope, that is selfish. You're not supposed to put yourself first. You're just focused on yourself. That's another voice that I'm very familiar with.
Mhm.
And I feel like, yeah, I feel like to speak to that a little bit would be helpful to our mompreneurs and just say it's not all about you, clearly, but you have to take care of you, right?
Right, absolutely. And in order to be able to, serve your family, your community, all of that as well, you need to be at your optimal state. I fully believe.
No, I love that. Absolutely love that. From a mental health and business perspective, why is it crucial for mompreneurs to intentionally schedule and protect family travel time rather
Yeah.
than seeing it as a luxury or a distraction?
Absolutely. And I feel like this question kind of goes if someone has never traveled before, they might have this question. Like why isn't a vacation so important? For me that sounds like someone who didn't actually take the time to schedule these trips because I do feel like when you come back, you feel like you've made these memories with your family. And I see it all the time online about core memories, right? That's really what we talk about. What our kids are going to remember when they're teenagers, they're off to college, when they're older. I have a 9-year-old so I'm not at that stage yet, but I always think about what is she going to look back on and remember? And is it going to be us in the kitchen cooking something? Is it going to be something she's doing at school or learning something? I really think that most of these core memories are when we go out as a family and do an activity together. And what better time to do that than on a vacation where you actually can disconnect, let's say a week-long trip and just really put yourself in positions that maybe you haven't done before. For example, we went to Costa Rica last year with my daughter and she was scared, but we took her zip lining. And something that I love, I introduced it to my husband, just really got out of our comfort zone. And she took the plunge and she did it. And I remember, like, this is a core memory for me, actually. I don't even know if it's gonna be one of hers, but it's a core memory for me. She went up on the platform and the guys helped me get all hooked up and on the thing. And her hand was shaking. She is holding that wire and it is shaking. And I'm filming. And the video is really funny because I'm in the back going, "You could do it, girl. You got this." And then she let go. And after that, she was like, again, I got to do it. So for me, I think I just uncovered that's my core memory.
Oh, no, I love that. I absolutely love that. And, I remember now that I think about it growing up, my mom drove us everywhere. I mean, our
Yeah.
longest trip was definitely 30 hours to Canada. That was a long trip, Texas
Wow.
to Canada. But I mean, now that I think about it, it's like, travel I mean, that's where you learn culture and experiences. I mean, it broadens your perspective. It helps you see that the world is
Yes.
bigger than just where you live, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
I can see how that is invaluable,
Mm.
invaluable. So I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like for the mompreneur who's on a budget,
Yeah.
like what do you recommend for making sure that there's some type of travel if it's possible?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to know you don't have to travel like every 2 months. You don't have to travel every 6 months, not even every year. It's what you can do and what you can make work. I do think one vacation a year sounds really great though. But if it's not possible, then you can always save for a future vacation. So right now we're actually booking travel for like 18 months in advance. We can't do that for every vacation, but let's say a cruise. Alaska cruises are really popular and a lot of our guests actually book 18 months, sometimes even 2 years in advance for these types of vacations. So it is the kind of thing you can save for. It's the kind of thing you can also pay in installments for. So you're kind of, working in that saving aspects to your planning process. We do that here all the time for guests. So I love that. And then every vacation doesn't need to be a huge blowout extravaganza. It can just be, like you said, get in the car, go someplace, a road trip. I did that with my family as a kid. My parents made it an intentional priority but it wasn't necessarily a luxury vacation. We would go to a beach town or we would go on a road trip or go to like Williamsburg, Virginia. But there's still lots of fun stuff to do. And as a kid, they always found fun things for me to do, whether it was like a kids museum, or we threw in an amusement park day just to have a little more fun. There's ways to definitely make travel happen if it is a priority for you.
No, I love that. And um, as far as your traveling business, because now that I'm thinking, this is just a little detour for a second, but
Please, I
COVID,
love pictures.
like, talk to me about COVID.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, travel and people are still afraid to get out. And I mean, there's a lot of people traveling, but there's also a lot of people that are like, I don't know. That what if something else breaks out again?
Got
What if
it.
I have to, you know what I mean? Talk to me
Yeah.
about concern.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that I can actually have a smile on my face right now during this conversation because, like, a few years ago, that was absolutely not the case. And we were actually probably working twice as much, but we were canceling trips. So, what we were doing, like, yeah, it was a really bad time in the travel industry because we would have clients, like I said, book their trips 18 months in advance, a year in advance. We'd be working on all of the planning details, logistics, heading up to that. And then things stopped. I had people that were set to check into their resorts like March 15 or what it was. And they are called me midnight saying, should I get on that plane tomorrow? And me going, I don't think so. I don't think you're going anyplace. I don't think the hotel is open anymore. So, it went from that side of the spectrum to the, well, maybe we'll push it, but we don't know if things are going to be open. And then we're pushing again. And then the cruise industry has not opened. And that's a significant part of our business. And then international travel, because maybe things have opened in the US, but maybe they haven't elsewhere. So it was that. It was a lot of trying to find alternate vacations, little smaller, maybe staycations if people felt safe. The summer of 2020, I had the travel itch. I got an RV. I
Yeah,
have never, like, that is, if you know me, that is not my travel style at all. We
yeah,
do not
yeah.
camp, we do not RV, but we did because I wanted to go somewhere. I had a 3-year-old at the time. And
Mhm.
we got in an RV in Los Angeles and we drove all the way up to Yellowstone,
Wow.
stopping along the way, and we did a lot of hiking. We did a lot of outdoor activities, but that is something we're also going to remember. It wasn't like my ideal vacation that summer. I don't remember actually where we were planning to go,
Wow.
but we'll always remember that RV trip now.
I love that. Man, I absolutely love that. Okay, so your brand, Travel with Character,
Mhm.
is known for fusing entertainment with travel. Can you talk to me about how you incorporate storytelling and backstage production elements to turn to turn a standard family trip into a unique, immersive experience?
Absolutely. So I do feel like, and I listened to one of the other podcasts you had with the marketing woman who was talking about brand, and she's like, how early should you incorporate brand? Well, here's the thing. I think I incorporated my brand too late into my business journey. So I
Mhm.
started my company in 2019. And before that, I was in the travel industry as well, just as an independent contractor with another agency. Entertainment has always been my passion. It's my background. I have, a degree in music and theater, and I was in New York doing musical theater and here in LA doing some film and TV. So I always knew that that was a passion of mine too, but I never fully incorporated it into what I'm doing now. They were always just two completely separate and distinct things. So it wasn't until just, I would say, a couple years ago where I was like, you know what? I really want to key in on this and make it our overall brand. And when I did that, it's when I really felt things started to click. And I know people say, oh, it clicks, it feels great. But this was like, it was definitely that wow moment where I realized it does take a production team to make a production happen. And for us, the vacation is the production. And I was a solopreneur and I was doing everything myself. And that can work. And I know businesses that work that way, but it was not the best way for me to perform optimally. So what I started to do was intentionally hire an employee team. And this completely changed my business, the structure. So we have structured ourselves even with like these entertainment type of names. So I'm the executive producer of the vacation because I like having that overall vision. I love listening to the stories of the people that come to us and where they want to go and what motivates them to take this particular trip. And then I love to do that first stage where I get to dream about the itinerary and sketch it out. But then after that, I have to be aware that there are people that are just amazing at the operations of a project. So that's where we have our associate producer, our travel director. They're still client facing. They're still going to interact with our guest as well, but they're going to work on those things like securing your ground transportation and your travel insurance and your dining reservations and all of that. And then we also even have a production assistant assistant who helps us make some phone calls and details and helps me with my marketing and just balancing my inbox and things like that. She assists the producers. So, building this team structure, it just really lent itself to how the entertainment industry and how being on a film set would be structured as well.
No, absolutely love that. And one thing that's so evident to me is how passionate you are about what you do. It's not something where you're like, oh, it's really cool. I do this thing on the side. It's like I get the opportunity to produce every day and
Hmm.
it lights me up. That
Yes.
just oozes out of you. And I love that. I love to see it because when people are, especially this is something I've been working on, when you're selling your product or your service and you're trying to help more people, sometimes it's hard to translate that, what you do and the value you bring to your communication to those people and your target audience. But I can just see one of the ways I think that should be considered is one of the factors rather is how passionate you are for what you do. Like, this is not a burden for you. This is not something that you think is cool on the side. Your energy is all in
Yes,
and you are
absolutely.
really energized by doing it. And it just shows. And I think that's really inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So, in, the age of endless online booking
Yes.
options, what is the core difference between a do it yourself booking experience and the high touch service that you provide for families?
Yeah. That's a really great question because we will have actual inquiries that come to us and they'll say, I already planned this with ChatGPT. And they'll sometimes even send what it put out and we'll look it over and we'll be like, okay, that's interesting. And some of it's great suggestions, but I think it does not. The problem is people don't know how to prompt it. Because if you don't know anything about the destination or even the questions to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what's important to you? What do you prioritize? What do your kids like? If you're not prompting yourself, it's going to put out a generic kind of answer. And
Yep.
that's really not what we do. We do not do cookie cutter trips, generic trips. They're fully customized vacations. And I was actually talking with one of my colleagues this morning because we're meeting with one of our partners who does escorted tours. And we had a conversation because it's fun to travel with a group, maybe a group of strangers, not for everybody, but it's not something we sell quite often. And we were talking, do we want to try to boost our sales for that? But people really come to us for that customization. They're not coming to us for a set itinerary to travel with a group and set dates and all of that. They're coming to us more of a blank slate, telling us their ideas, having us fill in the gaps, which is my favorite part when I get to use my creativity and kind of make the suggestions that maybe they didn't even know existed, and then completely custom tailor it to them and their family. So their kids. Maybe we have some grandparents involved as well on some of these trips. So completely customized and tailored is really important to us. And then to add to that, we're real people, so we are a team that cares. If you go on, yeah, right.
You can say that again.
Sometimes it's nice just to know the person that's planning your trip. And we can really, like, today we're getting together on like a personal level, learning about each other. That's what we like to do with our guests as well. You can use a search engine and they'll tell you some pretty hotels. But if you have a question or if you need a contact at that property, you don't have that person that cares that's gonna utilize their expertise to help you on that process.
Yeah. No, and honestly, that really resonates because a part of the difference in my own business, the EA
Mhm.
services we provide, is we customize it, the support based on the person's energy and values. It's a whole other approach, right? And again, they could use AI to, automate things, which I highly recommend.
Mhm.
However, at the end of the day, if you're looking for high level strategy for how to maximize your output, how to get the best customized luxury experience, I cannot give that to you because you have to either know A, how to prompt it, like what you mentioned, or B, you can't really put a price on having that type of mindset and
Right.
expertise, right? I
Right.
mean, maybe if you really wanted to go out of your way, you could try to code something with ChatGPT or something and build a bot that could mimic
Mhm. Mhm.
ish, right? But again,
Right.
that human touch, that personal connection, that
Absolutely.
relationship would never be there to the degree
Yeah.
that it is with a human because we were created for human connection. So I
Absolutely.
absolutely resonate with what you're saying, the customized approach, the humanistic approach, connection, and also being able to use your resources, but use them as tools, not as the end all be all, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. That
You
definitely
know,
resonates.
Yeah, we have tools beyond just what's online too. So there's some experiences we do that you can't find online. We know local guides that have some insider tours or, specialists in that destination that you're not going to be able to find online, honestly. We know because we have partners in those countries and they vet these tour guides and they set us up with the best of the best. So, yeah, you can find a guide online, but it might not be our guides. So I think that's important too. Our connections. Again, going back to humans, we have human connections and some of them are locally and some of them are around the world. And, it's nice to put someone at a hotel where, we booked multiple guests at this property. So we now know the staff and we know the management. And when one of our guests comes in, they treat them in a different way than maybe the guest that booked online on Expedia.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is just amazing. I absolutely love what you've built. That is just seriously, it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen.
Thank you.
So for a busy mompreneur,
Mhm.
how does handling the travel advisory role strategy that you do and being a mom every day, that you're trying to be present, you're trying to be forward thinking, how do you have both roles at the same
Mm.
time and not even necessarily not get overwhelmed? I feel like we all get overwhelmed depending on the day and the time and the context, but how do you do both things and make it work for you in a way that you feel fulfilled and in touch with yourself?
This is such a great question. There's so many layers to it. I guess I almost have to answer it like as the Lauren of maybe 5 years ago, because I now have a 9-year-old and things are honestly just much easier. So for those who have little ones, there is hope. It gets better. And, now she just has such a fun personality and she does things independently. So the struggle for me really was when she was littler and she was not so independent. She's also an only child, so I don't know if that affected things. She didn't have another little friend or kid to play with every single day at home. So I think for me, it was really setting boundaries, meaning scheduling work times. And within those hours, I would focus on work. And then when that day was over, shutting it off, trying to disconnect and go. That is the biggest challenge. And I feel like 5 years ago, Lauren probably didn't have it all together. Maybe Lauren now has more boundaries and more of it all together. But yeah, I think there were definitely parts of my journey where I was very overwhelmed because number one, I was probably taking on more than I needed to, and I didn't have an assistant. So that was like the first I should have hired sooner kind of thing. And then also, I would work into the late hours. And the funny thing is, I would tell myself I was a night person. I always said, "Oh, I'm a night person." And I would do that. But, that's the time I like to spend with my husband in the evening. So then I was cutting into that. But turns out I'm not a night person. I actually go to bed at like 9 o'clock now, 9:30, and I wake up very early to do yoga and I prioritize that. So yeah, I think boundaries, because I feel like a lot of times when we think of boundaries, we think about them with other people. But I do also feel like it's good to think about them with your work-life balance as well. Like when are the times I am designating for work and when am I actually designating to 100% be with my child?
Yeah, no, I hear that. And I also think when we're talking about boundaries with yourself, which is actually the hardest thing that I've been learning and literally walking in right now. Just having a conversation with my husband before this. And I was like, look, I'm so sorry. I thought we could try to do this, but I actually have to set that boundary. I cannot. I have to listen to my gut. I have to listen to my energy, and that is draining me, whatever it is, right? And boundaries with myself has been the hardest. That has been the hardest. But I realize I pay more for it with my time, my energy, and literally my money
Yeah.
if do not set it. And I can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
That is
For
a
sure.
hard thing. Boundaries are hard.
Yeah.
It's not as black and white
I
because we have
I think
emotions, right?
absolutely.
And that's all tied in, but it is important. And I really, yeah, I do appreciate you bringing that up. Okay. Last question, because I know we're running out of time, but man, this has been amazing. Beyond the relaxation aspect, how can taking a truly unique, character driven family vacation actually inspire a mompreneur's creativity, leading to new ideas and clearer focus for her business?
Yeah, I really do think well, a lot of it does come down to what we have previously talked about in terms of creating those core memories and everything like that. I do think that disconnecting does allow you that relaxation also that what we spoke about. But just like when I'm on vacation myself, I do feel inspired. I don't know if that's everyone, but I could be experiencing a new culture. Sometimes even the food that I'm eating is inspiring to me. The experiences, learning new things. It reminds me how much I love learning. I'm usually bringing a book with me. I'm investing in my time into something I enjoy, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. That's going to inspire me. So it's giving me those time buckets that I didn't have when I'm at my desk or, doing things around the house where I can really dive in. So I think both for education, that's inspiring, for culture, and just for everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I know that as soon as I have it in the budget, I'm definitely hiring you and your team, because
Love that.
I'm ready. I'm convinced I need to take a vacation. I just now need to build up the savings for it so that I can just hand it over and say, "Hey, let's figure this out." But I no, I love that. It's a very valuable service, and your energy and your enthusiasm and your expertise, it's just a really beautiful way of showing what you can do to help change the world and provide a much needed service. So thank you for what you do. It is very, very valuable.
Yeah, we love it. We love helping. And, like you said, it does take a lot off people's plates. And when they are juggling work and family and all of that, you don't have time for this. You honestly need a full time job to plan some of these vacations. And don't have that. Or I find that sometimes the moms that come to us have been taxed with an assignment and they come on the call with us and they're saying, like, I was put in charge of planning this and I have no idea where to start. Just having, just being able to get on with them and say, look, we got you. You hand it over to us. You tell us how you want this. And then, like I started with, you take complete credit for this and you just shine with your family. And there's no better feeling for us.
No, absolutely love that. Well, thank you so much for being on this show. And thank you, everyone else, for also hanging out with us today on Mompreneurs Making Moves. And if you found a little encouragement, a fresh idea, or you just felt seen, make sure to subscribe and share this with your mompreneur friends. And remember that every small step you take in your life and in your business matters. And you are absolutely not alone on this journey. So keep showing up, keep making moves, and don't forget to take care of yourself too. And make sure to follow us at Mompreneurs Making Moves on Instagram and Facebook. And you can watch this full interview on our YouTube channel at Mompreneurs Making Moves Official. And to connect with Lauren, we'll have all of her links below. Check out her website, book with her and her team. They're ready to take care of you. And Lauren, thank you again for being on. It was such a delight.
Thank you so much. I really had a great time.